again. I am Scarlett Sieber, the Chief Strategy and Growth Officer here at Money 2020. Welcome to the Daily Wrap Europe 2022. And today we're at the end of day one, and I have an incredible colleague and guest next to me, Steve Clark, who is our Vice President of Europe. Steve, thanks
Hello.
for joining.
Thank you, Scarlett. Indeed, it's been one hell of a first day, and as Scarlett said, I'm the VP of Money 2020 Europe. Dare I say, my first time here. So I'm like many of those other people out there as a first timer, but thoroughly enjoying it and glad to be here.
I love to hear it. You know, it's obviously it's end of day one, quite loud here, as you can imagine. We're on the showroom floor. This is your first Money 2020, so tell us, what is your thoughts? How do you feel? How do you feel end of day one?
Good point. Well, bearing in mind, we're not quite at the end of day one. It keeps on giving, and there's way more to keep coming as well. At the moment, I'm thoroughly enjoying seeing all those engaged faces. We say those collisions, those many people coming together. I think from last year, it was literally the great coming together, wasn't it? And we've built out on that, and this year is so many people that just feel euphoric about being here. And at the same time, you know, we're loving to do business here, we're loving to engage, and it's an experience. And you know my thoughts on experience. I feel like Money 2020, at the core of it, we love our communities, but we create experience around them. That is the heart and center.
Experience is absolutely crucial, but we got to talk about content too, because we are FinTech's biggest show on the continent. Obviously, I come from FinTech. I love FinTech. We had stages across the board that invoked emotion, made you feel a lot of type of ways. Inspired was one of them. So one of those sessions on the main stage was actually Feed's Eye, and we have a few clips from that right now. So please watch this great clip from Feed's Eye.
But when we launch into space, you know, we've got a 1 in 30 chance of not coming back, which is obviously much better odds than the 50-50. But it is still a case of what is an acceptable level of risk, and when do you take that? And that comes down to, as I mentioned, like personal level of risk and an organizational level of risk. Your personal drive and ambition to achieve something.
Is your personal level of risk acceptance different than the one of the organization?
I think I've got a higher acceptance of risk. I think in space we've tended
You're Maverick and Top Gun.
Well, I just think we tend to be a bit risk averse at times.
Well, that was quite a clip. What did you think of the session?
God, it was so inspiring. I don't know about you, but that panel up there, you've got an astronaut, you've got a Formula One car driver, and knitting it all together obviously Feed's Eye and their risk mitigation. I think, you know, key takeout for me was behind every great person, every great athlete, every great business person is a team. And it's those partnerships, those collaborations, and all of that coming together ends up in a great result. And that, to me, embodies Money 2020 at the same time.
You got the climber there as well, and it's one of those things that's so nice, because it's really about people being at the peak of their thing, whether, like you said, you be an astronaut or an athlete. You know something about that. I don't know, I used to be quite good at tennis back in the day, so you can relate to that piece. And there's always a bit of risk when you get to a certain level. So when that session was done, people were walking out, smiles on their faces, feeling inspired, which I think was really, really great.
Interesting. I suppose to be put in the same caliber as someone that's gone to space is quite interesting. But indeed, I did my own little, I suppose, experience-led going to space through the tennis world and the lens. So many years ago, I was a professional tennis player, so I've been there. And I've seen, obviously, to be at the top of your game, what that takes, and that commitment day in, day out. And it comes back to making sure you've got the right people around you and the right network, which then makes you become who you want to be and bring your A game.
Which is awesome. And I think there was such a diversity of topics that happened on the stage today. Another one that I really loved was Anne Boden. We have another clip of that, so please, let's take a look at that now.
At the moment, crypto is being used by fraudsters, and in countries where you have payment schemes that are real time, you find that customers are being scammed, and and the scammers are sending the money out the door to crypto wallets, and we're spending far more of our time protecting customers from these scammers than we are trying to promote crypto. I think we're in a phase at the moment where it is very dangerous. And what we have is a lot of wallets being connected directly into payment schemes. And this is a threat to the safety of our payment schemes around the world. I think that will move on, and I think when you interview me, if you do in a couple of years' time, I'll be telling you about how we're much more involved in the space. But at the moment, my principal concern with crypto is that we have to protect our customers that are being scammed across all the banks in Europe.
When you think of a powerhouse woman, you think of Ann Boden. You know, with Starling Bank, neobanks have been around for some time. Back in my day at BBVA, we acquired one in Simple Bank, amazing founders. But what I loved about that session was that Ann talked about profitability, because so often you hear this thing with these neobanks that get so much scale, but are they making money? How are they getting money? And Ann is very public about the profitability, which was awesome. So inspiring session. Sifted reporter was up there, did an incredible job, and one that definitely people should go watch after the fact as well when we put the sessions up live later.
And frustratingly, unfortunately, I missed it.
Well, you'll watch it later.
It's too much going on, but indeed, I will watch it later. And talking Powerhouse, I feel like I'm sitting across the chair from one here as well. So look at that. In all honour.
Oh boy, something like that. Or
Have I
nothing
ruined
like that
it?
At all.
Have I ruined it?
No, we're good. We're good.
You like that?
Yeah, of course. Why not? So, you know, one of the things that was really cool for some of the headline sessions that we had this afternoon was we got to do a little bit more time with them, a little bit more intimate at our beautiful studio right here.
Of course.
So one of those was with OnlyFans. Let's have that conversation right now. Please watch that interview.
One thing that people might not know about the creator economy is quite how big it is. So at OnlyFans, since 2016, we have processed over $8 billion in terms of payments to creators. And that is only part of the creator economy.
One thing the industry should be talking about but isn't is that the creator economy is not a side hustle, it is a genuine business.
The key message that we wanted people to take away from our main stage session today was that OnlyFans is committed to becoming the safest digital media platform in the world.
What's next for OnlyFans is continuing to build the safest social media platform.
One thing that I would say to creators looking to make a career on OnlyFans is to be your authentic self, to think carefully about the content that you want to create and put out into the world, and to make connections with your fans.
The biggest hurdle that the industry is facing in the next year is the reputational risk perception that the creator economy has.
We chose Money 2020 as one of the first places to come out and speak as OnlyFans executive team because this is where our community is, and we believe that community is incredibly important. We wanted to be where our fintech partners, our banking partners, and our technology partners had all congregated, and to be able to share our message with that community.
You know, the amount of money that has moved, you know, payments that moves through OnlyFans is crazy. What was your thoughts?
Well, my thought, very simplistically, is we're happy to have any discussion here at Money 2020. We literally will bring it to the table, and we want it as a discussion piece. Afterwards, we want to know your thoughts, and equally, watch it again. Watch that clip time and time again.
You know, we talked about powerhouse women. Keely Blair, their COO, is a powerhouse woman. They were also joined by Lee Taylor, their CFO, and he's actually back tomorrow for the exchange. I know we'll talk a little bit about the other stages, but that's going to be a cannot miss moment. We have another interview we want to talk about quickly as well, right? So it's interesting because we've had sessions across the gamut, one of them around blockchain. So we actually have a great clip with Peter Smith from blockchain.com, private interview. Please watch it now.
One thing that I want the audience to take away from my talk today is that while the market looks tough right now, there's not a better time to be building. And you've got to zoom out and think about the progress of technology and innovation and where we'll all be in 3 to 5 years. The biggest hurdle that the industry is facing in the next year is the capital markets. The capital markets are going to be very tight. It's going to be tough to raise new funds, which means that you have to change the way you operate your business. So the next year for blockchain.com is about expanding our core product, hiring new talent, and building for the next crypto wave. One piece of advice for brands looking to take its first steps into the metaverse is to tread slowly and carefully. If you believe the metaverse is going to be one of the biggest trends in technology over the next 10 years, you don't need to be first. You don't need to rush. You need to do it right.
Came all the way to Florida to join us today in Amsterdam. Quite something special. What do you think?
It was. Do you know, he was inspirational to listen to. Someone, he called himself a veteran at 33. I don't see him as a veteran. It makes me feel very old. But it was interesting, his take on sort of where he thinks everything's going to go from 5 years from now. And he feels cryptocurrency is going to be fully in the public domain, an everyday currency. And, you know, arguably it could even be earlier than that, but great to get his take on it for sure.
And it is funny because veteran is a funny word. However, he really was one of the early people on the space. Blockchain.com has been around for some time. So to see where we are now and that he gets to use that word is quite nice. So we've had a lot of great stuff from the keynote stage, from the headline stage, of course, but we've got 7 stages and across the course of the 3 days, 175 sessions. Can you just talk a little bit about what else happened today? What are the things that you loved? Any highlights in your mind?
Okay, well, I think what's great about the content here on the stages is every stage has its own personality and covers its own sort of topics and brings them to the forefront. And what I was quite proud of, actually, and all the work that's gone into it, was the Sex, Drugs and Rock and Roll Club. And when you look at already some of the topics that have been discussed on there wouldn't be on your conventional stage, brings it to the forefront, like I say. And then equally, we've got the exchange, you know, hidden behind the Lost Lounge. I'd look at that as what goes on behind closed doors stays behind closed doors. And it really is, you know, my love of experience, it really is an indulgent experience because half of it is content, half of it is experience.
Yeah, there's a lot that's happening there. And it's nice too because it's one of those things that's been around for a bit, highs and lows as always. But what's so nice about that stage is, as you said, there's no media, phones are away. It feels like you're having a discussion and a conversation amongst friends where you can really get into the nitty gritty and stuff that's not shared anywhere else is shared there. And yes, like you said, half of it was about that experience, but there was a strategy behind it in that when I was sitting with our team, fintech experts through and through, we were sitting there and we're saying, we have all these great ideas, we come up with these topics, people want to say these things, but then there's certain things because of the nature of the industry. There's a lot of public companies. There's only so much you can say in public. So this is the safe space where we can have those real in-depth conversations. And the SDDR was another great place. I mean, like you said, unconventional topics, cannabis, sex, making tax sexy. I mean, there's everything there. And we were very adamant on what we put on those stages, so there's only a little bit of content there. Oh, by the way, I think I got a new tattoo from that space. So,
ooh, which one did you get? Let me have a look.
The one with the roses. It's quite
Need
lovely.
that.
It's quite lovely indeed. So, you know, this is, I'm tempted to get this as a real tattoo because of how much I like it.
I would. I've got to say, it suits your attire today. Looks
Yes,
great on you, but what tattoo wouldn't, hey?
You know, black, it all matches, and scarlet red, so there you go. But, you know, the other thing that's so cool too is there was games back there. We got a pro, we talked about athletes at your top of your game. You got a pro poker pool player back there, which is incredible too.
Exactly that, and I think what's really nice as well, and it comes through, and one of our strands here is how we engage with each other. And you look at that, we've got pool tables, we've got dartboards. All those people are having those discussions, those meetings, those partnerships, sometimes through the vehicle of a game. Why not? It doesn't always have to be behind a table. There's many other ways that we can get to know each other, and that, to me, that stage really embodies all of that as well. And again, at its heart, so great Wonder Flag, of course.
Absolutely. And tell me about tonight. You spent a lot of energy building up this party, so tell me about it.
So tonight, I think unfortunately last year, we all know we couldn't run our parties as we've become accustomed to. This year they're back. They really are back. And I'd go as far as saying, you know, they're our biggest, they're our best yet at Europe. So tonight we have Money in the Park, which is our own branded Money 2020 take on an outdoor festival. We've got music, we've got street food, we've got entertainment, we've got games. And we've also got that opportunity to further engage and meet each other, which is great. So that goes on tonight from 7 p.m. And then we move into day 2, of course, tomorrow after that. Maybe a little bit jaded, but we'll see. We'll see how tonight goes.
Well, Steve Clark, you're one of 3 days down, 33% of the way there. We got more to go from here. It's been a pleasure. The best is still yet to come. We had a great day. I cannot wait to see what tomorrow and Thursday unfolds. And again, this is Scarlett Sieber with the Daily Wrap from Money 2020 Europe 2022. Thanks for watching. See you again tomorrow.